7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Coming soon. Snake River Manufacturing is developing a revolutionary new way to design and build a custom kayak trailer. This modular design lets you customize your trailer one piece at a time, allowing you to grow as you go.
You know, a lot of folks think gorillas can't read. But when the magazine's this good, even I had to subscribe.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me for episode 50 of the Kayak Cafe podcast. I'm very fortunate on this episode to have a gentleman who is who I follow for quite a while, and we're going to bring him in a minute and pick his brain. But this episode is brought to you by Snake River Manufacturing. Go check out snakerivermanufacturing.us and check out all of the kayak trailers that Steve and the crew are putting together. They're quite amazing, and they're, in my opinion, some of the best trailers ever made. So this episode and every episode for the rest of the year is brought to you by VikingKayaksUSA.com. They've got a new shipment of kayaks coming in that you should go check out. Great paddlecraft to get you on the water and out doing what you love. So, all right. So I'm going to bring this guy in. Finally, he answered my phone call. Text message. He always answers, but it's an ongoing joke of him not answering my calls. So I'm going to bring in this gentleman who owns Tactical Fishing Company, Mr. Andrew Blair. Hello, Andrew. How are you?
Good. How are you?
All right. Yeah, I loved how when we were talking, you're like, "Oh, here's my new number," but it looked like all the texts were still there. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, that's why I texted you, because I knew you needed to have it.
Yeah.
Everybody else, I'm sorry if you haven't gotten it yet.
I'm sure the conversation was with your wife, like, should I text him? Oh no, he might text me back. No.
No.
Awesome. Okay, so for those that don't know who you are, can you give a brief overview of who you are and what you do?
Yeah. So Andrew Blair, owner of Tactical Fishing Company, retired Army, living in South Carolina now. I also do content, which is streaming through my YouTube channel at Andrew Blair Fishing and other social media. So semi-professional angler, kayak enthusiast, and small fish master, as everybody says. So
heck yeah. So I was introduced to you through one of my many nights when I should be sleeping, flipping through TikTok, and I see this dude in his garage, sometimes in a bear suit, freezing
Yes.
while making bait. So is that where you got your semi-pro?
That's Chris Platt. What's up,
Yeah.
Chris?
He's also been in the magazine as well. So
Yep. Good friend here.
Yeah. So is that where you got your bait making start? Is on TikTok, or what got you into bait making?
So we'll just how it started, right? So, started the YouTube channel first. And tactical fishing was actually supposed to be content, right? I was in the Army. Another one of my friends, Alex Debo, and I both came up with the logo and everything on shift one night, and we're like, let's just start GoProing our stuff. We were huge Tactical Bassin fans, watched Milliken before, Sixth Sense and him just astronomically blew up, right? And so we started filming, and then my daughter got COVID. And like most bait makers, a lot of us started during COVID, right? You can't go anywhere. Ordered mold making kits and casually started making them there. Went into designing the hollow body frogs for the snakehead side of it, right? And then the plastics just kind of took over. TikTok was a great platform to go live. Zero lag compared to a Facebook or something else, right? And then it kind of evolved into that instead of focusing the YouTube content for myself. And then fast forward, 3 years, 4 years from that, we got all our molds are drawn by myself and our team. Everything's 100% made in house. Molds you've never seen before because they came from our ideas, right? So, and then the content split, right? As you noticed, I do my own social media. I keep it separate from the bait stuff. yeah, so it's
So
weird
what?
how it's that much in such a small period of time. You know what I mean? Same
Right.
with your magazine, which I have
Mm-hmm.
something to share with
Uh-oh.
them once we
Yeah.
get
So
further.
I was looking back on your TikToks, and I noticed in like 2022 you were sitting at 1,000 followers, and now we're 2025. You're sitting at something like 42,000 and climbing daily. So yeah, it's been quite a growth. I could tell. Here's how I knew that you were getting better and better. Like with the first lives I went in, I would make a comment and you would read it because you saw it. And then as you grew, I was like, "How's it going?" Like, oh, like, oh,
Yeah,
he's getting that following. It's like
yeah,
2 weeks.
it's
Yeah.
just like you doing the podcast, man. It's
Hmm.
always for anybody out there that is interested in doing this kind of stuff. You gotta do them to get experience with it. And reading comments and answering questions on the fly and being on camera, you don't get better unless you do it. So you
Yes.
know, between the fishing lives on my account, right, and then the bait making lives on tactical fishing, which I've stopped the last year. I stopped going live on there.
Hmm.
Ideas when custom ideas and stuff happen, you don't want replication. So we
Yes.
dialed back on that. But um, yeah, it's been a fun ride. I'll share it now before I forget. But so I went back in the archives of
Uh-huh.
when I first started talking to you, and this is from December 17th, 2022. So almost a little more than 3 years ago, when you first launched and asked me to take a look at your usakayakfishing.com
Hmm.
website. And I just thought that was cool. It's been that long since we've been talking. Since congrats
Yeah.
on your show as well.
Thank
It's
you.
both of us are we started around the same time, and it's
Yes.
cool to see where it's going. So just
Yeah.
wanted, I was,
It is kind of it's really good to see the growth in the community because you, if you look across the platforms, you're like, I remember, like, for you, I remember the bear outfit. That was
yeah,
like the thing. And if you got to a certain level of engagement, the bear outfit came on, or there were just things that
yep.
people, the community was there to support you to make those things happen. So,
Those were the
but
good old days.
the good old days. So let me ask you, what got you into kayak fishing to begin with?
So I've been fishing since I can remember, right?
Hmm.
Everybody's typical story. I grew up fishing with my dad, right? And I did. My dad used to take me. My parents divorced pretty early.
Hmm.
I was 6, and my dad would come get me, pick me up on his motorcycle. We'd go to the river, we'd fish. Growing up, my mom would take me to the local Lake Elkhorn and Lake Centennial there in Maryland. For those familiar, um, would take me there, and my friends and I would just fish. And Army, I always wanted to kayak fish, but with traveling and PCSing, I didn't really, the logistics of moving a kayak around wasn't really fathomable for me. So my first kayak was actually a Big Fish 105. 105?
Hmm.
Yeah. And that was right before I fragmented those discs in my back, right? I am medically
Yep.
retired at just shy of 12 years, right? I used to do powerlifting, and that's inevitably what happened. So sold the Big Fish, got a feel free Moken. There was a fly fishing shop that had kayaks, and they closed down, and I got it for like $450 a steal. Um, Fished out of that for like 2 months. Two other coworkers bought kayaks. We got hooked. And then SS 127 was my dream kayak. Found one on Craigslist back before Marketplace was reliable, right?
Yeah.
Found it really cheap. And then that's when around the time I met you, right? And it just
Hmm.
took off from there. Around that 2019 timeframe, really got into the kayak scene.
Yeah. So with the military aspect in kayaking, have you ever done anything with the Heroes on the Water?
Yeah, so that's actually how I met Rudy Arworth.
Hmm.
Before I even started making baits, a coworker of mine knew a gentleman that worked with the Tangier Sound chapter out in
Hmm.
Maryland and invited us to come out. Private pond, right? Went out, kayak fished, hung out with Rudy, and yeah. So I haven't had a chance to tag up with the ones here in Charleston. I've met the gentleman that runs it, talked to Corey Denny and everybody here about it. But I'm dialing back on tournament stuff this year. I'm really going to focus getting back to enjoying the content, right, and doing those events instead. And I think that's where I want to go with the content and myself with kayaking. So
Yes. So with the Heroes on the Water, uh, were you a participant or were you a guide? Because I know for myself, I'm not military, but I try my best to go as a guide. Were you just going as a participant or a guide, or
I was a
what?
participant at the
Mhm.
time. Yeah, yeah, because we got invited. And then, when you're out there though, and this is just for any veterans that are interested in doing it.
Mhm.
With veteran angler happened to comment right when I said this. So it's kind of like a team building thing. It doesn't matter your skill level, right? Like I wasn't a
Mhm.
guide, but I knew how to fish more than most people there did. So I was helping, right? And you get on fish and you're
Yes.
telling people what you're using. And so it's kind of like, everybody's doing it. There are dedicated guides to help them get in the kayaks and fit them
Mhm.
correctly and get the right paddles. But on the water, man, it was all of us just out there fishing. Hey, man, I'm catching on a
Yes.
blue and chrome rattle trap. You got one? No, here you go. Like everybody just working together to catch fish. It was a great time.
Yeah. When we go, we always have the briefing of, if you start catching them, this isn't a secret spot. Share them.
Yep. Yep.
If you have a bag full of purple Thinkos, hand them out. Let everybody know. So,
Yep.
yeah, I really enjoy it. Going with the magazine whenever I go fishing now, because I don't do a lot of content like you do. But when I go fishing, I always feel like, okay, I should be on the phone with someone getting an article, or I should be building an article. The only time I feel like I can fish and it's justified is when I do stuff with Heroes on the Water, because then I feel like I'm giving back and it's purposeful. So I appreciate them for allowing me to participate with them. So
No, that's
um,
I think, first responder military, I've seen plenty of regular civilians, if
mhm.
they're in the kayak community, right? Like um go to these events. And I think it's a really good segue into the good side of kayaking, right? Like we've had a lot of
Mhm.
drama in kayaking tournaments this year, and that's one of
Right.
those entities that are wholesome at its core. Like we all like to kayak, or we want to get, we feel that paddlefish heal is their motto, right? So like
Correct.
that's exactly what they do, right? And it doesn't matter whether you served or not, everybody there is out there to get the same peace of mind. So it's a great program.
Do you remember the first bait that you made or modified to get you into the spirit of becoming a bait maker?
Yeah. So um it's actually my only really, well, not the only one, but the highest view video on my channel is me. That mold kit I ordered with my daughter. I was really big into the Megabass Spark Shad, their paddle
Mhm.
tail. And I silicone reverse molded it so I could not spend $10 a pack on them. Started making those, and then I'm not really a stick bait guy. Chris Platts in here will tell you, a few others that are in here, Southwest Indiana Outdoors, they'll tell you I'm not really a big stick bait guy. So my second mold was not a stick bait. It was a creature bait. I'm a huge creature bait guy. So once you start, I think once you catch on the first one you make, it's that
Yes.
fulfilling, like, all right, here we go. Like, I want that again. And then you want your friends to do it, because if you're not fishing and catching and they are, you feel like you're part of it, right? So
Mhm.
that's what fueled the fire, for sure.
So what was the first bait that you designed?
Our bomber bug. I have my little tray of goodies
Yeah, I bet
here.
you do.
This is the bomber bug, and
Yes.
I am a big proponent of a flat-legged creature bait, especially for
Mhm.
you guys that are new creature baits this time of year. Less action sometimes is more bites. So I wanted a big, thick appendage creature bait to throw on a shaky head, to throw on a jig. Um, I actually designed this when it was colder, so I was throwing these, like Linganore, stuff like that. When it was colder, right, we need a bigger presentation. So the bug was the first one that we went with. Um, and then it just, that
Exploded from
became a
there.
whole different addiction from itself, right?
Yeah.
So
And I was watching somewhere when you design your baits, you hand draw them, correct?
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have, actually, let me see if I got any of these right here. Um, I do. So I'll show you what it starts at. So this is a little sneak peek of something I'm messing with right now, but starts as
Mhm.
just what I want. And then we scale draw on grid paper, measure it out. Um, get obviously our dimensions for CAD, right? And then my mold maker, I can degree it down so you can just input my measurements and we can tweak and it's good to go. So yeah, luckily I'm very detail oriented with drawing. So they all start with an idea. What do we need? And then we refine in the test mold process, and then Chris and the rest of the crew get to test it out and play with it. And then if it's good to go, we get a production mold cut and we're off to the races with it. So
now what inspires you to make a bait? And by that I mean, I'm a photographer myself, and I'll see something and just totally run off and make a composite out of it because I see someone's eyes. I'm like, oh, you would be a great warlock or whatever. And then I'd make this whole scene. What do you see that goes, I need to make a bait that looks like what you just showed me?
It's always a void. It's always a void or a need. And I've said this before. You always start with a problem, right? What is your problem? I don't have a bait that does this in this situation, right? Do I have, or for my situation now, because of how much it costs to produce one / inventory in time, right? Do I have a bait that can do that now with very limited modification that I can tell a customer it does that? If the answer is yes, we don't design anything. If the answer is I don't have something, then we start drawing. Okay, what are we looking for? Okay, we need this. Or is there a lure out there that's really trendy right now, but we can also use that bait for another application? So if the trend dies out, like dice, right? If everybody starts pumping dice out, can we use it for something else, right? So it's always a need. It always starts with a need. Do we need this? What do we need it for? And then we get to drawing, and then that's where the scaling comes in. What does it fit on? What are the most popular jigs? What are the most popular swim jigs? Bladed jigs, right? Chatterbaits, jackhammers, thunder crickets, slobber knockers. What size hook do they have? Because if they use a different size hook, it might come out of the back of your bait different if you're designing a bait for a chatterbait or a bladed jig. So that's when we go and we buy those products, right? I get the scaling. You want to diversify, right? Not everybody's a jackhammer fan because they're expensive. So they might go for something else. And you start breaking it down by those pieces, right? And then, or if it's a standalone bait like our speedworm, right? We needed a big fat-tailed speedworm, same circumference as say a Zoom speedworm, but more action, more durable. And Chris Platts is talking about the swagger stick, and I'm not a stick bait guy, but he helped me dial this thing in on the fall rate like to a T. I'm not going to say the very popular one that everybody loves, but it is almost spot on with action and drop. And that's all blending and salt, right? And so it's always a need. It's always a need. I'll rabbit hole real deep with this because that's where it gets fun.
Yeah. So how much weight do you put into angler feedback into your designs? Like, is it welcomed or in your design process? Yeah.
100% of it is. So when I first started, now I have two separate groups of anglers that support the brand, right? We design the frogs down to the hooks, down to everything. So I have the Snakehead guys help me with that. The thickness of the frogs, if the hooks are going to stab, the hook angle, durability of the hooks, the weight, right? The size profiling. I didn't really have individuals to help me test the plastics besides myself, right? So this year, the goal was to bring in, I see, Kitty Max comment. I'll get to that in a sec. I brought in people to help me with the plastics. And so we have 10, 11 guys on the team now that when we get a bait designed in its test mold form, the ones that primarily use that regionally, right? The demographic could be different of where you use a speed worm as opposed to, right, a finesse drop shot worm. I send them, they compare it, they fish it, they catch on it because you have to test durability and ripping of legs and tails if a fish thrashes it, right? And then if they say, yeah, this is great, all right, we're good. Because I have a different opinion than they are essentially the customer to me, right? Like, you know, we're designing baits for ourselves, right? Essentially, to build confidence in it. I'm never going to put something out because it's trendy and hip. I'll never put out, no offense, a dice bait. I would never use it myself.
Right.
You know, so
plus
feedback is first.
what type of military name would you give dice? Can't be an
I'm sure that
MRE, you know. I'm sure you
I'm
can come up with
sure I am sure there's one that we
the
could come
bouncing
up with.
Betty.
Yeah, there you see. Yeah, but I just it's a lot of fun. I mean, Chris and a few of them are in here and they'll tell you it's, when you dial something in like that, we're still fairly small relative to bigger, Sixth Sense and whatever, but it's but for his
Yeah.
question, micro finesse, not necessarily, no. The only thing I'll say that I was using as a finesse bait are single tail fluke. If I have, hopefully I didn't tear this up the last time. You can run these on a drop shot. This is obviously green pumpkin for a chatterbait trailer, but you can run these on a drop shot or a lead jig head. Real thin profile, roll nice, see a flat edge. Or the MRE, our most popular bait, the minnow ready to eat. That's what we're known for. This is probably the most diverse bait we have because you can throw it on net head. You can throw it on anything. I think I have a net head in here no, I have it tied on the spinning rod. Nothing smaller than really this for now, and we'll keep it at that.
Ooh. You heard it here, folks.
The
We're
tripwire.
downsizing. Yeah, the tripwire. Yeah. Yeah, I love all of the names with the MRE, the missile minnow, just all of the names and the way that they are back to your roots of tactical fishing. I love those.
Yeah, and I'm gonna start going back with colors too, because everybody's always playing, right? Like, how do you get more exposure? And when people are on Google, they type in a certain color, and you're more searchable, right? But like, we had the fun military names for the colors too when we started, but now you're trying to make that's pro blue. I'm familiar with that color, right? That's golden shiner. I'm familiar with that color, right? So even if the bait looks different, they're still familiar with the naming convention of the color. But code 3 is a color we have. It's black and red flake on black, and that's for Greg Matakaitis. He's a police officer, and that's their code for sirens. So red, blue flake, I let them name it. There you go. Code 3. So
like I say, when I first started watching you were in Maryland and you did a lot of snakehead fishing. That's where I really was like drawn in initially before I saw the live, was watching you catch those monster snakeheads. They became more monster as you went along and your technique got better. Because I remember you catching a fairly decent one. You're like, this is the biggest one I've caught. And then now that's dwarfed by what you've accomplished now. Do you, now that you've moved, because a lot of people don't know, you no longer live in Maryland, right? Do you miss the snakehead scene? Because that seemed to be a big part of what you were doing on your social media.
Yes, I miss the snakehead as the fish. I miss my friends that I snakehead fished with. I miss fishing for them. With any scene, there's amounts of drama or whatever. I don't miss that. It's a tighter community than most because it's new. I don't miss that. I do miss the fish, but I went up this past year and I'm going to try to go up twice next year to see them. But it's that fine line because I love bass fishing and I still bass fish up there. And now we got giants down here. So you got that fish year round, big bass, bowfin, right? I don't have smallmouth here right in the direct vicinity. There are smallmouth in South Carolina. Myself and Chris still have to explore for them, but I miss the fish. It's great for content too.
Oh yeah.
It is and it isn't, because half the people want to shame it and it's bad comments, right? But for the, oh, look at that fish, what is that? It's great. But like I said, I love it down here. So.
Or when you release them through your pedal drive hole,
Yeah. I'm cycling through those on my new Facebook page because my other one got, so
Yeah.
Y'all will maybe see those come back out. I'm cycling through content before I archive it forever.
So what were some growing pains for you for the bait making business? Because I know that when I first started watching you, it was kind of like just a side gig because you were full time military at the time, like you were still working in the military. But now that you're out, is bait making your full time, or you still no?
No, I still do contracting work. And I'm not necessarily
John Wick style,
wanting.
or
What was that?
John Wick style, or are we talking?
No.
Okay,
No.
different kind of
The office
contract.
you see, the office you see right here is where I work as well.
Mm.
My work computers are behind the camera.
Yes.
You know, I did a lot of soul searching this last year, right? And I'm not ready. You know, a lot of people are trying to leave their jobs to pursue fishing full time, and between the content and the bait making, I'm not fulfilled with my career yet. I like what I do.
Mhm.
I feel it still attaches me to the military, and I'm going to do that as long as I can. Now, if I have the opportunity where, you know, tactical fishing plus content plus is astronomically better than what I'm doing, I might take the jump. But right now, I'm comfortable. I have the time I need. I get to see my kids.
Mhm.
You know, it's still fun for the most part, right? And I'm not ready to take the jump yet. I could potentially do it. Battle Baits and myself talk about that a lot. If you're familiar with Flint, I'm sure
Mhm.
you are. We talk daily, and that's always a conversation we have. You know, it's not full
Yeah.
time yet. Maybe in the future, but
Speaking of Battle Baits, you've done some great collaborations with him. Like your colors and styles really complement each other. Did you like sit down on the drawing board and come up with those together, or was it like a happy accident?
so some of them were a happy accident, and that's how we really started talking a few years back.
Hmm.
My colors were just they went right. Some of the same ideas of like natural bait fish patterns, right? Actual, real, detailed replication of bait and forage. A lot of it matched, and as I made colors, he would adjust, or you know, I'd come out with a new bait. A lot of the times I design a lot of the baits to stuff that I fish and we fish. So if I'm primarily using his products, right, what do you think my stuff is going to fit with? My products are going to fit with what I use because I'm using
Hmm.
them, right? I have to generate the content. Our team has to generate the content for it. So yeah, as it went over time, things started meshing a lot more. And as he starts developing products, Andrew, the content creator, not Andrew Tactical Fishing, gets to try to break them or gets to fish them, and give him the honest feedback he needs, vice versa. When I'm going through something, I show him the molds. Hey, this is going to line up on your brush bomb. Like, you know, is this a profile? Yep, that's profile. Like, all right, cool. So now there is a lot of collaboration with just design in general now at this point.
Hmm.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it's cool to see those relationships grow where you just start off just chatting with somebody. Now you're like full on. The communication is there because you trust each other. So that's really cool to see
Yep.
that grow.
Yep.
So let me ask you this: which is more difficult for you, the bait making or the content creating? Which would you put
Mm,
on the?
bait making is not hard. It's it's difficult pending your time, right? Like that's all revolving of what makes bait making for me now at this point difficult because like right now, our MRE had some
Mhm.
posts go off and I got my whole site got cleared. So when you're making the same colors over and over again, you're not experimenting with new stuff, right? Like on the lives where I can, oh, let's try to match this, or let's try to just make a color. You don't
Right.
have time for that anymore. So you can only run green pumpkin so many times before it becomes boring. I'd say the content is probably hardest because it's such an revolving door, right? Nowadays, and balancing my own. I'm not willing to give up my personal channels and my personal content. I mean, it has more of a following than TFC does now, at this point. But if for some reason I wake up tomorrow and I'm like, I don't want to sell baits anymore. If
Mhm.
I sell it or if I stop, I have my personal channels to keep up content. So balancing my own content with the brand, with the fishing, with the long form, with the short form, the obstacles of fighting monetization battles, right? Because I'm an unfiltered person in content generally with certain things. That's more difficult because it's all out of your control. Everything is out of your control with content. Bait making, I control. I can make them, I can push and sell. Content, I can't push views, right? That's it. Editing's the hardest part for me of anything. Editing is just like anything else. The more you do it, the more you find what works for you, what your viewers respond to. Don't be scared to ask your viewers what they like. I do it very frequently. What camera angles do you guys like? Because when you're generating content, if you're posting it and trying to grow, you're doing it for a viewer. And a lot of people say, no, I do it for myself. Well, if you're tracking analytics, you're doing it for viewers because you're tracking that. If you're just posting and get 2 views and you're fine with it, you're doing it for yourself. But if you are actively tracking your analytics, I will argue you that you are doing it for following for the viewers. In that case, ask them what they want early. Do it early and just roll with it, flow with it, make it your own.
And be prepared for that answer.
Charlie's awesome. Charlie's a good kid.
Yeah, you have to be prepared for that answer. You know, if you ask the question, you got to be prepared when they say, this sucks. You know, if they say this sucks, that's kind of like, it's not productive. But if they say it sucks because of this or your audio or, you know, those are the ones you have to appreciate. I've come to find out.
100%.
My favorite criticism ever on a video was I was doing something and I turned, I was barefoot, and someone said, look at the size of that guy's toes. I was like, my goodness, my toes.
That's the money engagement right there, man. And that's another thing too. People get disheartened with the negativity of social media, right? Because anybody can say what they want. You know,
those keyboard warriors
say it to you. Yeah, they wouldn't say it to your face, right? Like,
come to dinner. Hold on, Mom. I'm slamming this guy about his fat toe.
Hey, yeah, it's like Call of Duty lobbies back in the day, right? Like, you're never going to see these people again. So you just 15, 16-year-old me spouting off on people, right? And then, oh, that's the guy that knows my username in the parking lot. That never happens. But
I don't know if you've seen the video. I love this video. This guy goes to the door and the mom introduces the guy to the son. And he's like, I'm Black Hawk 141. I told you. Like,
I was gonna reference that, but you know, it's your show. Yeah, I told you I was gonna do this. That's exactly what I was talking about. It's now social media is fun. I mean, I got thick skin, so I post anything I want. You know, I'll go from memes to cinematic to jokes to fish catching to teaching. I like doing it all, right?
Whatever
like that's I mean, that's the thing. And you know, each platform likes their own thing. Instagram loves memes. Facebook loves the dub skits that I put like a girl in saying something at first and it cuts to me fishing. Like, you just got to play it out. Every platform likes something different. It's fun.
So let me ask you this, because I know that you said you had a pro staff team. Do you regulate the content that comes from them? Because I know that as like the magazine, I get some images sent to me that I'm just begging them, can I re-edit your images, or can I give you some feedback? And do you find that to be another aspect of quality control?
100%. So I don't even really treat our team like that. The gentlemen in here that are on our team will tell you, I barely ever ask to share something out or to tag unless it's like a sale, like I'm doing a flash sale. It's 40% off Hollow Body frogs right now. So I asked them to share that out, right? And I primarily want to take the brunt of the content side, right? And if Chris, he just won an event, or if someone catches a big fish, I say, hey, let me edit these photos. I usually edit it for them first, right? Let me edit this out for you. Thad Moody, I don't know if he's in here, but when he caught his monster on an MRE underspin, I said, hey, let me edit this, make it look clean. You can post it. And then I'll post it later on. But primarily I don't go hunting for content, right? Like my methodology with this brand is word of mouth. I don't want to, I'll show you the bait. I'll show you the pairings. I'll show you my catches with it, but I would rather someone go and catch fish on it or hear or get given a pack. And maybe that's a bad business model, right? Like I'm not going to sell as much, but for me, it's more valuable when people are seeing those things. So it's a regulated thing, but you know, my team is more of, I help them. We all brainstorm content for our own channels. We talk about kayak stuff. It's more of a group together. You know,
Like a
not a
think
lot
tank.
of grown men have people to vent to. So, you know, we have gotten pretty, you know, deep in the weeds. You know, if something happens, a life moment happens, it is more of a focus group for us to relate to each other as fathers, as businessmen, that kind of thing, than it is, oh, yep, you need to post 3 times a month and do this. I don't believe in that. I want these guys to be able to feel like they're part of a family. And when we have baits, help me design them. But other than that, 90 Trash Panda decals, Steve came up with it in our promotional staff chat, right? And we all supported his business. So it's more of a place to foster ideas for everybody than it is for my brand, which, you know, it's a little different, but that's how I like to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome, because I know that there is a lacking of, like you said, that community feel. Like even in the fishing kayaking community, it is tight knit. But I'm actually in a group chat with people that are part of a Roku channel, and we all sort of the same thing. We talk about our businesses, but not only about that channel. It's more of a, if this person needs support or you need help with this or whatever.
Yep.
So that's a good community to be part of, and especially if you built it. It's kind of like a notch in your hat. So
yeah, it's one of those deals. They know, like, regardless of if someone uses my brand, and I say this when I bring anybody in, and it's not an application thing, right? It's not. I don't take applications for it. I have to know you. I have to trust you. Know that you are the kind of person that if someone were to vent, that's how I like to do it. I treat it like the military, right? You got to trust everybody around you. And you know, and it's not just like that in the bass chat too, because I keep the chat separated. The Snakehead guys, they all fish together and they know each other. The bass guys have more in common. Same thing with the Snakehead community. Has a I don't
type
know.
maybe.
A type? Oh, bald dad? No, I'm kidding. The Snakehead. So, for example, like on our Snakehead group, one of our friends bought a kayak off of another guy in the group, Richie, and it happened to get stolen at a ramp. So we all within an hour put funds together and got him a Jackson bite from Big Bass USA to get him back on the water. So it's a support group. You know, I
like it.
appreciate the content from them and the feedback. That's what I have in return for them is I help you with content, vent, meet some friends, right? Like I
Do
said,
you
a lot
have
of
a
us don't
secret
have friends.
handshake? Do you have a secret handshake? And if you did, would you tell me?
Yes.
Okay, good.
That. Oh, awesome. Yakety Mac. So if anybody's new that wants to check out the site, it is tacticalfishingco.com. New 20 is 20% off your first order. So we're doing 40% off hollow body frogs right now. Those don't stack, right? So 40% off the frogs for Christmas. Merry Christmas. Yeah, but I don't try to sell a lot when I'm on podcasts. I just like the conversation. So
you could sell if you want. If they're on here, sell them.
I just told them the code. There we go.
Told them the code.
There you go.
Yeah. So I didn't say it, but thank you for your service. And do you feel that your time in the military helped you in your business and or the team aspect? Because I don't know what your rank was in the military, but do you feel like over the people in the chat, you're more like a leader and you take that leadership role?
I was a staff sergeant. Yes and no. I mean, now it's when things like we get a certain way, I try to steer it back, but like generally that's part of it, right? Like I don't yeah, hey, I'll type your order number here. I'll throw you in some goodies, some extras. So I don't bring individuals in to our team that I feel need that. Right. And that's and that's what's part of this is like, you know, I don't like the term pro staff, promotion staff. I just call it a team, right? Because we all help each other out in our own aspects, kind of like in the military, right? Like even a platoon sergeant needs assistance from his soldiers, right? And like there are times I need stuff or I need to vent, right? As a parent, as a father. And they're there for me just like I'm there for them. And I don't want people to get the idea like it's a cult, but we are a group of friends. Like these are the guys I talk to every single day, all day long about everything. It's not just fishing, everything. So very similar to the military. Business wise, I am extremely OCD. And have really bad anxiety with time. So that's something actually Battle Baits helped me out with a lot, is allowing myself to let things go out of stock, right? If something sells out, you don't have to go kill yourself to go make it, right? You can let it be out of stock. But to me, it's like, no, we got to grind this out. And that caused some issues with my relationship with my wife when TFC started blowing up, right? I was spending more time out there after the kids went to bed than in here. Took a good month off recently to just kind of hang out, not worry about it, go fish, enjoy it myself for a little bit, right? Rolling into the next year. But a lot of the stuff I do is based off of that team mentality that was in the military for me. So it's 100% influenced it.
Yeah, that was my next question, was how do you balance the work life?
It's that's where it gets lately difficult, right? My daughter's an elite competitive cheer team. Got a 5-year-old, have my 13-year-old son, 12-year-old son, X 18. So, you know, I work from home. Kids get out of school in South Carolina at 2 p.m. So in the morning when I take my kids to school at 6:30 a.m., schedule content. That's when I plan out all my content throughout the day, or film, right? So if you ever see a YouTube video where it looks like I got sand in my eyes, it's because I filmed it at 6:30 in the morning. Start editing content before work my day job, right? It's here. When I have breaks, post my content, package orders to send out, right? Then the kids come home. Then it's dad, cheerleading. And then once they all go to bed, if they go to bed on time, go out in the shop, film my own content, work on my kayaks or whatever, and make baits. So it's very busy. But I like it that way. I don't get off my beaten path when I have a schedule. So
Let's see here.
So partnerships. I've done a lot of videos on this, and first and foremost, do not ever think that a no means no forever. Okay. A lot of times with brands, what they're looking for is if they're unfamiliar with you and they've never seen you, it's usually on your packaging, right? Like, what are you sending them? So when someone approaches me for a partnership, right? And I call them partnerships, not sponsorships, unless they're paying for something in full or a majority of something, right? You're partnering. They expect content in return for a discount or whatever, right? Put together a resume. Do you have a fishing resume? If you don't, put together all your statistics. I update mine every year. So for 2025, I'm starting to go through and look at all of my branded content reach, not my meme reach, not because if I do that, I have 198 million views on Facebook in 2025 on my personal account, right? How much of that is brand-based educational or usable content for the brand, right? Not that much. It's still 35 million, right? Realistically, it's right in that ballpark. But when you're reaching out to a brand, you want it to be, instead of, hey, I'm interested, I'm been using your products. That's a big no-no for me, is if someone reaches out and they've never used my products before. Okay. Have you used our products? You said kayak dealer, right? It's all about availability for funding too, right? So if you see that they have a staff of 12 people and it's a smaller business, maybe you start feeling your way in, go to the shop more, hang out, get your name out there, you know, start sharing your content or tagging them more so that you get on their radar. But the biggest thing with brands is just show how you can immediately impact them. That's what they want, right? If someone reaches out to me and they make phenomenal content and they have 500 followers, I don't care. I'll take them. because from a content standpoint, because I know their content's quality. I don't have to spend an hour editing it to post it, right? So just kind of feel it out. If they denied you, ask them, hey, thank you for responding to my email. Could you give me some feedback on maybe what I'm lacking on my portfolio, or is there anything I can work on that we can maybe address this in a future date, right? If they say they might just give you the answer there. We have too many people on staff, or we're not looking for anybody right now, or you don't have enough followers. That could be an answer, right? And if it is, then that's your goal, right? You want to rely on talking, open communication, and just thank them for the opportunity and replying. That's the biggest thing for me.
Right.
Long-winded, because
yeah,
I can hit this on both sides, as the creator and as the business. So I try to give both sides to it.
The way I would approach it if I were to come to you is not say, hey, I want to represent your brand. I would say, hey, Andrew, what would it take for someone to be noticed by your brand? And how can I do that? And give me the appropriate amount of time, and I'll show you that I can do that. That's the way I would approach. It's just basically, I know that you get approached all the time. What can I do to get on your radar and allow me the time to do it?
Yep. That's exactly, I have Chase is still in here and his wife. That's exactly how I asked Chase if he wanted to join the team, right? Because Chase was already using our products, making clean content. He was tagging the brand, was already talking to him. And then I could see he was on my radar, right? So I could see he was using the products, and I could see he actually cared about him. He didn't ask me, right? And usually if someone says, I want to be on your team, and I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And Lily's another one. Lily has known me since almost the beginning of my TikTok era, right? And she knows I'm a straight shooter with this. If you want to work with a brand, the brand I have to trust you, right? And most bigger brands, and I'm not going to be rude with it, but there's certain tungsten brands that you just fill out a thing online and you get a discount, and then you could slap it on your jersey and they send you files in an automatic email, right?
Right.
I very, very quickly recommend you do not do that, because when other brands see that and you stack them, that to me is jersey stacking, right? You're code hunting. That's what I call it. And it looks more like you're trying to just get discounts everywhere than really represent the brands that you use. And that's the biggest thing for a company. They want immediate impact. They want website clicks.
Right.
I don't expect a sale if someone shares it, but at least drive some traffic, right?
And if someone says they're pro staff, that doesn't mean anything, because I reached out to a company for information about an article, and they're like, where are you at? I'm like, I'm in Virginia. Well, I don't have anybody on pro staff in Virginia. Do you want to be on my pro staff? I'm like, I don't tournament fish. I fish for myself. They're like, doesn't matter. I just need somebody in Virginia. All right. So I'm on pro staff for a fishing line company that I don't even use, but they put me on there because they needed somebody in Virginia. So,
we could go through this, like Andrew, the content creators talking. A lot of companies will bait and hook these anglers, right? Especially young aspiring creators, right? Because people think, and I was guilty, right? I was guilty of it. And even in the past year, I dropped all of my partnerships except for two. Two, all of them. I sent a resignation removal email from Newport. I obviously left Jackson Kayak. I've left a lot. And the reason I did that is because you start to see that these brands are just trying to grow a plethora of people just for the sake of sales. But when it comes to taking care of the individuals, they just weren't doing it. And that's not for all of them. That's just,
right.
I left on good terms with people on my own. So, a lot of people want to get these brands and they want to acquire a lot of brands. And realistically, when I'm looking at, as now someone that's been doing content, you can tell when it's the click auto apply ones, right?
Right.
You're better off just using everybody's stuff, everybody's products, making the most genuine content as you can as a consumer that is not affiliated with the brand. And the reason you do that is not for the brand. It's so everybody that follows you builds trust in what you are presenting them. me not being affiliated with a kayak company, if I do a kayak review, you're more likely to see, okay, that's really his raw emotion, right? And here's somebody reach out with like, yep, seller products are marked up 20%. Yeah. So Charlie Sanders, for those of you that don't follow Charlie, I would strongly encourage it. Very young, but he is beyond his years intelligent when it comes to both presenting himself and fishing. He is an absolute role model for those to follow, that are just getting into kayak fishing. So applause to him, right? And he's our only junior promotional staff member. He's not in our chat because minor, right? But talked to his parents, said, hey, I really respect what he's doing. Thad Moody connected me with him. He uses our products, and I brought him in just because of the character. But when you're making content for people, especially when you're first starting, you want to build a following that trusts you. If you're giving reviews, if you're pitching a product or talking about products, and it's really hard to do that when you have 20 logos on you, and it looks like you're just taking whatever you can get. So
that's true.
Long-winded, both sides of the coin. But
say, I'm surprised you have Chase as pro staff when his wife is so angry. She's not really. I keep joking her. She was a mad that I didn't have him on the podcast sooner, and I told him that they were filler on somebody that backed out, and I told her she was mad at me. So I like joking her. But they have some great stuff.
They're awesome, yeah. And for those of you that are new, I can't see who's in here on my end or your end, but a lot of the creators in here that I'm saying I know, they really do make genuine content. And I know it's not the flashy, crazy sponsored stuff like, some of the rising creators are putting out, but it's valuable information, and they're good people. And that's, it only takes one video for someone to get the same amount of followers as someone else. Don't look at follower counts, look at the genuineness of the content is what I try to do. So,
yeah. So we've talked about this briefly before, and I want to hit it before we get off, about the partnerships and things like that. You're working with a location that I like. I have not physically been there yet, but I've dealt with the owner, Chris, with Relax Retreat. Can you give like a brief overview of who they are and what you're trying to do with them?
So Relax Retreat, Carolina King, is a lodging establishment, right on Lake Marion, Santee Cooper. And Dave and Chris recently purchased this, lodging, right? Tons of cabins. Chris Platts might know the exact amount of how many cabins, but, and they have done a phenomenal job of renovating it for different lodging, right? They offer rental kayaks, can do extended stays there, have pontoon boat rentals, more of a getaway environment right on a really stacked spot on Santee Cooper. And what, they're starting to get into the kayak scene a lot more, right? It is a very easy to launch place, very reasonably priced with security to leave I've left my kayak out, full motor, electronics, everything on the bank in front of the store all day, not touched, with rods, right? And what we're trying to do to help them is they have big adventures boats. They have native and bona fide, and potentially more in the future. But for now, this is what we're starting with. And demo days, we're getting on the calendar now. We're going to at least do a minimum of 4 demo days, AM, PM demo day. Yes, there are alligators there, but you're fine, right? I flipped an XTR in alligator water. We're good. So we're coming in, myself, Caleb, Chris, and then Alan Lockwood. We're coming in to help them kind of get.
Did your phone time out? Anyway, what he's saying is it's a great facility, and he's probably going to jump back out and jump back in. All right. Well, the Relax Retreat Carolina King is an amazing facility. Chris, I've spoken with him several times. If you get an opportunity to go and check them out, they have some great stuff they're working on. They moved into a location that they're trying to basically revamp and show the quality of the area, and they've done a great job doing so. And that's all, folks. Thanks for joining me.
No, my brother-in-law's in town, and I thought I put my phone on notifications. And when he called me, it kicked me out of the podcast.
No worries. I'll just give it a little more in depth with you. Keep kicking off where you were about the
So yeah, we're coming in to help host demo days, get people more familiar with kayak fishing, right? Or just kayaking in general, help them find their needs of what style kayak they like. So you obviously see some demo days coming up here if you are in the South Carolina area, or if you do want to stay at Relax Retreat. They have every model, including the hammer from Native now that you can come test. Obviously, some tournaments are going to be hosted there. So we're there to kind of help them with the kayak industry side, eventually accessories, and get that going. Chris Platts, if he's still in here, he does guided tours from there. Social media stuff we help him with. Great families that run it. And just a note about them. When I first moved here, they were like one of the first group of people that just like instantly took me in and made me feel welcome here. Them and Chris Platts, right off the gate, so phenomenal place, great lodging. I've stayed there multiple times now. And literally it's 50 yards from most of the lodging to the water, and you can't beat it. I mean, Chris caught 118 inches worth of fish right there. So in April of this past year. So there's
huge catfish too.
Spot.
I mean, it's like a little
big
bit
catfish.
of everything. So yeah,
Yep.
I plan to go down there in this coming year and get some things going, which are, we discussed offline, but it's a great location. And based on what Chris and our interactions, I really want to see them succeed. So if you guys get an opportunity, go check them out. Relax Retreat at Carolina King. I don't have the link available right now, but you could Google it, and it's a great location to go fishing or even just to get away. I have one contributor to the magazine. They went down and enjoyed it, and they said it was an amazing location to take the kids or not to take the kids. That's the question. Well, I mean, it's kid friendly. I mean, it's basically like a campground-ish feel, isn't it?
Yep, it is. So I have a video, just I can explain it, but there's a video on my YouTube channel where I do kind of like a walkthrough cabin, show you the general store, give you a kind of a tour of it. But yeah, extremely kid friendly. Dave and Chris, when they rotate who is staying there, right? Because they own it, but they also live there while they're, owning it. So they have their kids there. There's plenty of things to do. Pontoon boats, like I said, areas to do fire pits at night, grills, full kitchens, and most of them. It's honestly a really great place. Yes, there are gators, but I have not seen a gator in the vicinity of Relax launches in any way, shape, or form. They're generally over on the side creeks, and they don't like being near people. They stay away, but it's a really nice place to be.
Yeah. So I have one last question for you. How do you want to be remembered in the fishing industry?
Being honest. Someone that, whether it be baits or whatever, just while I'm doing it, that people got value out of it, right? If I helped one person with catching or with knowledge or with a career path with a brand or starting a business or whatever, just as long as I'm known as someone that's willing to help other people, I'm good. That's the goal. That's why I love doing it. Most people in here know me long enough. It's always been the goal. And please reach out if you're new and have not met me yet. I don't gatekeep any of this stuff. I like to share. So
he might call you back. No.
Yeah. Chris, he said March, potentially March. So I'll So
awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I know that you've got, we both have families, so I know how busy life can be. And with everything you have going on, I appreciate you taking the time to come. You got another notification mid kiss up. All right. 3, 2, 1. Where are you at? Give him just a second to come back in. Anyway, I will tell him here in case he doesn't hop back in. It was great to see his path go from where he was. There he is. He's back. You hopped out mid kiss up. I was like,
that's my daughter calling me from her tablet. I'm like, can you just?
She wants that hot chocolate. You promised me a hot chocolate. Don't make me call in, Mom.
Yeah, I know.
So, so like I was saying, I appreciate you coming in. I know, as we were just discussing, you're a family man and taking time away to come in. It was great to see you where you, not necessarily where you started from, because you were still going, you were going strong when I came in, but it's good to see you go from where I was introduced to where you are now. And it's going to be crazy to see where you go, because I think it's really going to be beyond both of our scope of understanding if you continue down the path you're going. So I look forward to seeing that long term. So, but I do appreciate you coming in.
Hey, look, it's mutual. Like I said, I shared for the group. I've been talking to Roy for a good amount of time now, since before this is just his dream too. So hats off to you, man. You guys are doing great, and took a little bit, but it was a pleasure coming on. And
appreciate you.
You got my new phone number. I'll call you.
I do.
Don't worry.
All right, I'm gonna go and put you in the background. Say goodbye to everyone, and I'll come back to you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity, and reach out if you got any questions.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
Oh, shoot out the website and the code one more time.
So tacticalfishingco.com is our website. Code new20. There's a banner that flashes up if you're a new customer. But right now we're doing 40% off hollow body frogs. It's an automatic discount until the 26th. So
sweet.
Enjoy.
Go get you some amazing baits. All right, I'll be right back with you.
All right, man.
All right, everyone. That was episode 50 of the Kayak Cafe podcast. I appreciate you all coming in. I was hoping to get 52 episodes out this year, but then I realized I started one weekend, so I'm going to get 51 episodes out in 2025, which gives me room for growth for 2026. Again, this episode is brought to you by Snake River Manufacturing US. Go check them out at snakerivermanufacturing.us and see all of the beautiful kayak trailers that Steve and the crew are making. They are, in my opinion, the best kayak trailers made. You be the judge of that. So go check them out. Also, this episode is brought to you by Viking Kayaks USA. Go to vikingkayaksusa.com and see all their paddle craft and all of the ways to get on the water and back to your roots through paddling. So also, if you're interested in coffee, this episode is sponsored by Kayak Coffee. So you go to kayakcoffee.com and you're able to use Cafe 20 as a code and get 20% off your whole order. I absolutely love their coffee. And I had a bag sitting here that has fallen down, and I'll show you next time. But go check them out. I appreciate you all coming in, and thank you for tuning in. I will see you next week.